The Battlefield 6 beta has come and gone, and after spending dozens of hours in the chaos, the destruction, and the revives that could be pulled straight from a war movie, I have a lot to say. This beta wasn't just a test, it felt like a statement. And today we're diving into what worked, what didn't, and why. For the first time in a while, Battlefield might finally be back on track.
It's about damn time. It's about damn time.
Let's start with the basics. Destruction. In true Battlefield fashion, it's back, but this time it feels more organic. Buildings fall apart in an organic way and shift the fight dramatically. In previous Battlefields, it was easy to see where the predetermined destruction points were on buildings, but they've done a great job making it feel more dynamic in Battlefield 6. But what really impressed me was the movement system. There's a noticeable depth now. Sliding, vaulting, dolphin diving, rolling, it all feels fluid. And for players looking for skill expression, it has a lot of potential. You can feel the difference between an average player and someone who really knows how to move. Gunplay also surprised me. The open weapon system is a lot more fun than I expected. There's real build potential here. For example, an assault with an LMG and 2 grenade launchers can completely zone areas. An engineer with a DMR taking cover behind the tank he's repairing and picking enemies off. A support with an SMG running around buildings smoking areas off so they can drag their teammates to safety. Or, my favorite, a recon with a silenced assault rifle flanking behind enemy lines and placing a spawn beacon down for his team to flank. I understand why people want closed weapons for classes, as it's the traditional way Battlefield has been. But in my opinion, I don't mind either, and both versions have their pros and cons. Alright, let's talk maps. Iberia is easily my second favorite map in the beta. From tight urban combat to that burning hill in the background, it delivers a gritty, immersive frontline experience. The middle of Iberia is absolute gorgeous chaos, with half-demolished buildings framing a brutal tug-of-war. Siege of Cairo might just be my favorite from the beta. It gives off strong Battlefield 3 Grand Bazaar vibes, a compact and brutal city setting with alleyways for flanks and streets to desperately sprint across while taking mountains of bullet fire. Yes, there's a roof exploit that needs fixing, and it soured a lot of people on the map, I think, but on release this map should be a standout. Empire State. Released in week 2, it was okay, though the right side of the map felt a bit overwhelming in terms of layout, verticality, and flow. There's been a lot of discussion about this map, and I think most of it is warranted. I do think, however, it was kneecapped by being released a week later than the other maps when everyone was already clamoring for a bigger map. Now, Tajikistan.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog.
Let's just say, conquest mode does this map no favors. The A side spawn is wide open with minimal cover, while the F side gets natural advantages, having lots of cover with the hill and rocks littered throughout. The result is one-sided matches full of snipers, but, and it's a big but, breakthrough on Tajikistan is one of the best Battlefield experiences I've ever had. The first push on attack was a classic Battlefield meat grinder, like Operation Metro from Battlefield 3. Desperately sending out smokes and trying to charge over the rocks while under fire from snipers and defending players, and then later on fighting uphill towards the last objective under constant fire gave off full Normandy landing energy. It's punishing and cinematic, and I always was looking forward to this map on Breakthrough. I can understand why people who are more interested in map balance and a more competitive game wouldn't be fans of it though, as it is heavily weighed to the defensive team, but for those just looking for hectic cinematic fights, this is a great one. The only real downside to maps across the board is their size. They feel small for Battlefield standards, which means vehicle play is limited and pacing can feel a little too tight, although we've been told there will be bigger maps on release. Battlefield Studios continues to dominate in one area that almost never fails: sound design. Gunshots, explosions, tanks rumbling in the distance, it's all crisp. It feels immersive and beautifully layered. Headphones are definitely a must for this game. Vehicles in the beta were definitely interesting. They hit hard, they feel powerful, but they're also vulnerable, which is a refreshing balance, I think. You're dangerous in a tank, but you're not a god. And then there's the revive mechanic. Easily my favorite addition out of everything new. You can now drag down teammates out of fire before reviving them. It doesn't just add utility, it adds flavor. You get these cinematic Hacksaw Ridge moments where you're sprinting through smoke, pulling allies out of danger under heavy fire, and it just makes playing support fun. It adds to the whole experience of all-out war the game is trying to portray. Class balance is definitely still a work in progress, but there's a lot of potential here. Assault felt underpowered in the beta, the adrenaline shot isn't great, and without strong gadgets it fell a little flat. That said, with the spawn beacon being moved to the assault class and gadgets like the sledgehammer and assault ladders coming at launch, it might improve pretty dramatically. Engineer is as powerful as ever, maybe too powerful. The ability to equip 2 rocket launchers was a bit absurd, though it's looking like this is being changed for the full release. Support stole the show in my opinion, thanks to faster revives and the dragging mechanic. It was genuinely fun to play. Smoke grenades helped this effect and were a game changer for the support class, allowing you to jump in and recreate full-on war movie scenes, reviving teammates under fire like a hero. Recon was fun too, especially when running stealth builds with the silenced M4 and placing spawn beacons behind enemy lines, but with the beacon moving to assault, Recon might lose some of its utility. Alright, let's break down the weapons. LMGs felt well balanced, the KTS in particular was a standout, although the KTS might be a bit too accurate from range. It seems to occupy the same sort of area of effect that DMRs should be occupying. So a little range nerf to the KTS might be needed, or an accuracy nerf. That being said, DMRs were mixed as well. The M39 felt incredibly underwhelming, felt weak, it felt inconsistent with its accuracy, but the SVK was the exact opposite. It felt precise and accurate, and with a 2-shot body shot, it's quickly become a favorite for me. There was only one bolt action rifle available in the beta, but this felt great to use. And I don't know if this is just me, but it feels like bullet travel time has been sped up compared to the previous games, as I didn't feel I needed to lead shots as much. But that may be due to, again, the smaller maps. Scope options were limited as well. The highest magnification you could get was a 6x, which was fine for the beta's smaller maps, but I'm hoping for an 8x or even a 10x scope in the full game once the larger maps arrive. Carbines and ARs felt fine, although across the board the weapons felt a little bit samey, like there wasn't enough distinguishing factors between them. Although the M4A1 stands out as the current meta pick. The shotgun available in the beta is strong, maybe too strong. Again, that might be helped by the smaller maps we have, but we'll see if it's toned down before launch. In terms of SMGs, the PW7 is an absolute beast. It is powerful at close range, but I think it has an issue with its range where it feels like it can just out-duel a lot of ARs and carbines from way too far. A range nerf might be needed here. Not everything was perfect. There were glitches. Deployables, for example, like spawn beacons and shield walls, would disappear after being placed. This happened way too often, and since you only got one beacon on recon, it could be a punishing bug. There was also a letdown in terms of game modes. Rush, one of my all-time favorites from Battlefield 3 and 4, was locked to just 12v12. I get that Breakthrough is meant to carry that large-scale objective vibe now, but it still felt like a step back for those of us who prefer the Rush game mode. And while they probably moved it to 12v12 to give the people who prefer the smaller scale infantry objective game mode types a Breakthrough-like game mode, I still hope we get some sort of option with Rush here. Another small gripe is that there's no way to see how many players you've revived on the scoreboard, and considering how vital revives are in this game, and how much work has been done to evolve how you revive people with the drag mechanic, this feels like a missed opportunity and is a stat that is very important to the way the game is played that is not being represented on the scoreboard. Despite its flaws, the Battlefield 6 beta did something incredibly important, something that hasn't been done in years. It made me excited for Battlefield. This feels like a return to form. While it's not perfect, it is fun. And that's the most important thing. It's Battlefield. It's chaotic, cinematic, squad-focused gameplay with just enough evolution to feel fresh. Yes, there are issues the fandom has in terms of map size, time to kill, availability of vehicles, but hopefully these things will be worked out on the full game release. This feels like a love letter to Battlefield 3 and 4, while also trying to forge a new identity. If DICE can build on this foundation, keep the game grounded in military realism, avoid wacky cosmetics that their competitors have focused on, and focus on making the core gameplay fun, then hopefully we're in for a comeback. And who knows, maybe post-launch content will bring back naval warfare. One can hope.